Alright, hello. It's me, Bob, the greatest. Alright. And yeah, I wanted to make a video about my exsanguinate build, just to kind of showcase it a little bit and just kind of show, you know, show a little bit how it works and all that shit. It's not a very complicated build really, but yeah. I'm not gonna make like any kind of a full-fledged guide or anything like that. Just I'm just gonna show off the gear. I'm gonna provide the pet of building in case anybody's interested, but do take note, this is a very expensive build. And you could do a budget version, but it's just not gonna be it's just not gonna feel all that great until you put quite a significant amount of currency into it. Not that it's gonna feel bad, but the build does scale a lot with investment. Now, as you can see, we do have quite a smooth, clear exsanguinate with the chain support. Just can delete several packs at once, and our damage is pretty high, so we can blow up a lot of rares, including Einer Beast and things like that with just one cast of the spell. Just check I didn't take Fizz Immune. One of the things that this build is particularly good at is farming expeditions. The build is also quite tanky. I will show all the like bits and pieces and stats after, just so it will all be explained in great detail. Right, out of the way, peasants. Well, as you can see, quite enjoyable. We can also sustain permanent righteous fire, which is mostly just to add more damage, and the 43% more spell damage. Let's show a sanctum room as well. Trying to practice for the no hit run. So I'm not, I don't have a lot of resolve relics on me right now. And let's show like a normal room as well. Now for the sanctum runs, or when I'm gonna attempt the no hit run again, I'm going to have actually even more damage. But as you can see, the damage is not really that much of an issue in terms of slapping the guards. Alright, let's get the hell out of here. Alright, so as you can see, the build has quite a lot of damage. Also we have quite a bit of tankiness, quite a bit of everything. Also, this is a very well all-around build, can do quite a lot of what is this? It's trash, isn't it? Does quite a lot of can do a lot of content. It's we can do juice maps, we can do Uber bosses, you know, just general mapping, legions, whatever, right? The build is very versatile in the types of farm it can do. It's a really good all-rounder. Even though it does feel better at some things, obviously, than others. But yeah, okay, let's go through the build. I think let's start with the defenses. As generally, I do generally like my builds to be tanky. So we got 60,000 armor. Now the phys reduction is not the greatest. That's like, I want to get endurance charges, and I had them for a while, but I had to drop them. But yeah, 60,000 armor. Then I have 1.6 life regen per second. Obviously capped resistances, pretty high chaos res. We cannot be stunned. Crit damage 50% reduction. Of course, ailment immune, bleed immune, and curse immune, and of course champion permanent 20 fortify stacks. So very, very tanky. We're not like super tanky maybe against Uber bosses, but it definitely doesn't feel bad. Right. So that's that, and of course the flasks. Of course, I'm using a mage blood in case you didn't notice. The flasks. This is where I have the curse immunity on the quicksilver, the topaz for the elemental ailments immunities with the jewel. Here's some cast speed, some regen, and all of these are just defensive flasks as well. So this is topaz for less lightning damage taken, less fire damage taken, less cold damage taken, right? So just mostly defensive flasks on that bit. Alright. So, the gear. Now, as I said, this is a very expensive build, so a lot of this gear will be pretty good. Tier 1 spell damage, +5. We got Fizz multi, cast speed staff. So just basically very good. This is double elevated. Mana reservation, nearby take fizz damage. And this is where I have the focus. So in case you didn't notice, I have 2 curses, vulnerability and punishment, and I cast them with focus. And I also have on this ring, shock nearby enemies on focus. So the focus, when we get to a boss, the good thing about it, it has no cast animation or anything. It's just instantly cast, so both curses are instantly cast, which makes it really, really good to lose less time casting the curses, because casting 2 curses can be time consuming, and especially for Uber bosses. And for the part in Sanctum with Alicia in the hallway, just, you know, instantly cursing and applying DPS, so I can phase her before she starts channeling the lightning thingy. It's really good. Right. So that's that. I also have exsanguinate duration because it's just a really good quality of life, and the damage enchant really, like, there is no need, as the build has a lot of damage, and you'll see once I'll show the damage in Path of Building with a single target setup as well, so you see. So here I have a socket ring because I'm started for sockets. In case you're wondering, the way I scale damage mostly is by having just a bunch of auras, because exsanguinate can be affected by quite a lot of different auras. Zealotry, Pride, Malevolence, Flesh and Stone, Petrified, well that's for low life, Vitality, Holy Purity, Determination, and War Banner. So 9 auras. Yeah, okay, so the ring, I also have a min frenzy charge on all the jewelry, so I'll have permanent 3 frenzy charges at all times. I have Anoint Charisma, the amulet is a +2, life, Fizz Dot. I will still try to recraft this amulet, or actually craft a different one, but better, because I do want a better suffix than mana regen, to be honest. Anyways, the chest is +2. This is double elevated suffixes. We have effect of non-cursed auras, which is pretty big damage. This ring is just a bunch of life. I actually will craft this ring next, but this is just in here for the time being. It's just a bunch of life and min frenzy charge. The rest of the mods actually does absolutely nothing. The gloves are Fizz Leech Implicit, which is my source of leech. I do, or I should be able to over leech on low life, because I'm slightly over it, right? Or it should work that way anyways. Fizz Dot, Cast Res, life regen, some damage, boom. Mage Blood, obviously, when enemies maim, take increased damage over time. And permanent onslaught boots. I wanted permanent onslaught just because of Sanctum, because I wanted just a reliable amount of movement speed that doesn't change at any time, which I think is kind of good for like handling all the traps and bits, and just kind of knowing having a reliable kind of movement, right? Okay, that's it about the gear. Obviously, you know, I do a swap for like Uber bosses and, you know, stuff. I mean, before a lot of investment, you know, for normal bosses as well, to Swift Affliction. Three, as you can see, nothing much too complicated. We're just traveling down, grabbing all the life nodes, aura nodes, more life nodes, more aura nodes. 2 big clusters. Here are a bunch of the reservation efficiency nodes to reserve all the auras. Another cluster, more life and stuff. I have the impossible escape. I have to actually move this to a different socket, but whatever. And that lets me get the +1 curse and just some more aura stuff here. And also I do have pain attunement, which is on the relic. And yeah, I mean, I have to say this leak for my exsanguinate build is absolutely insane. The Storm Shroud Jewel is just huge. The pain attunement to be able to put it on the relic, because normally I would either travel all the way to pain attunement or use Skin of the Lords, and this just opens up the build. In either I don't have to travel all the way to it, or I don't have to use Skin of the Lords, right? Or I mean, I don't have to do either, right? So it's just quite nice. So yeah, let's show the damage. Okay, let's show the fun part, the part you were all been waiting for. Alright, so let me just re-import the build as it is right now. Mhm. Right, so exsanguinate, let's set it up to 3 dot stages in case you didn't know. Exsanguinate can apply the damage or time effect 3 times. It stacks up to 3 times, right? And that is the reason why I use Unleash in the setup, right? Because it, with one cast I always apply the three dots, right? And the duration of exsanguinate lasts long enough for me to get the unleash stacks back and just apply again 3 dots. Like, pretty useful for bossing if you want to like dodge between the casts and stuff, move around, right? So yeah, that's that. It's quite big. You could go for a better damage support game, but I just never really unsocket the unleash. It's just way too good, quality of life wise and everything, right? It just feels good. So yeah, in our clear setup, as you can see, as the build is right now, we have 12 million damage over time and 16 mil total. That's because our average hit, the hit portion of the skill also hits pretty good, and I do have quite a bit of cast speed as well. So when it comes to single target damage, I will swap out the chain for Swift Affliction, and then we go to 18 million 23 total. But there is a few more things. So the first thing is so the focus, right? The shock. So that brings us almost to 20 million damage over time effect, 24 million total, and then also mostly like for uber bosses, after 4 seconds our pride aura effect will go up to maximum effect. So we get up to 26 mil and 33 total. Then also the punishment aura, when it kicks on low life, we get a lot more damage when that procs in, because punishment is really strong, but only when you get the boss into low life first, right? And then of course I do or I can run a more damage oriented setup. This is more of a slightly tankier setup where I have 6,000 life. But when I was trying the no-hit run, I did unspec a lot of the life nodes, dropped down to about 5,000 and took more damage nodes with the clusters and whatnot. You can also use this ring, the Circle of Guilt. Let me just copy it into the pub to show you. So if you use the Circle of Guilt, you can get even more dot DPS. This is now pretty much like the dot cap, 30 million, and another 7 million from our hits. So definitely, substantially quite a lot of damage potential, and of course, a lot of these life nodes can be unspec'd from the tree to maybe grab like just more of this damage nodes instead, right? In case we want to scale damage even a bit more, right? So yeah, and of course once the punishment procs from the low life, the damage can get quite ridiculous. Anyways, so yeah, the build definitely has a lot more than substantial amount of damage. I do prefer to run it more in what do you call it? More in a defensive setup though. But I am gonna drop drop a little bit into more of like this setup for just for the Sanctum no-hit run and the practice session. But I just failed the previous one I had, so I'm like giving a bit of a rest before I try again. I still have one more try, but I'm digressing. This is not even related to the build. Anyways, I think that pretty much covers it. Obviously, as I already mentioned, this is a high investment build. Well, like one of the first things I farmed for this build, it was the Mage Blood. So yeah, and you know, Mage Blood is quite expensive, and I mean, you could obviously try a budget version of this build, but I'm not going to make any kind of a build guide. This is just a showcase and explanation, and just to kind of showboat the build a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and yes, what nuts. Goodbye.